What if I told you that Thomas Edison didn't actually invent the light bulb, that he stole ideas from his own employees, and that his greatest rival died poor while Edison became a millionaire? The story you learned in school is a lie. Today, you'll discover the dark secrets of Thomas Edison, the inventor who changed the world but destroyed lives along the way. The man who failed 1,000 times before succeeding, and the controversial truth about genius and greed. This isn't the hero story. This is the real story. Stay until the end to learn Edison's brutal but honest lesson about failure. Let's reveal the truth. Thomas Edison was thrown out of school after just 3 months. His teacher called him addled, which means confused and stupid. She told his mother, "Your son's brain is scrambled. He cannot learn. He asks too many questions." Little Thomas was only 7 years old. But here's what most people don't know. Edison probably had learning disabilities. Modern experts believe he had ADHD and was partially deaf from childhood infections. In the 1850s, there was no support for children like him. Schools labeled them as failures. Edison's mother, Nancy, didn't accept this judgment. She was a former teacher. She took him out of school and taught him at home. She gave him science books and let him experiment in the basement. This is where the story gets interesting. At age 12, Edison started working. He sold newspapers and candy on trains. He was curious and energetic. He set up a chemistry lab in the train's baggage car to experiment during breaks. One day, his chemicals caught fire and nearly burned the train. The conductor was furious. He threw Edison off the train and hit him on the ears, making his deafness worse. Most children would be traumatized. Not Edison. He saw this as a lesson. Be more careful, but never stop experimenting. By age 15, Edison learned telegraph operation, the internet of the 1860s. He became a telegraph operator, traveling from city to city, working night shifts. And here's the secret. During those boring night shifts, Edison had time to think, time to tinker, time to invent. His deafness actually helped him. Why? He could focus completely on his work without being distracted by noise. What society called his disability became his superpower. In 1876, Edison did something revolutionary. He opened the world's first research laboratory in Menlo Park, New Jersey. But here's what they don't teach you. Edison didn't work alone. He hired teams of skilled engineers, scientists, and craftsmen. His lab employed up to 14 people working on multiple projects simultaneously. Edison called it an invention factory. His goal? Create a minor invention every 10 days and a major invention every 6 months. Innovation became industrial, organized, mechanical. This is where the dark side begins. Edison was brilliant at managing people and taking credit. He had a rule. Everything invented in his lab belonged to him. His employees signed contracts giving Edison ownership of their ideas. One employee, Louis Latimer, improved the light bulb's carbon filament, making it last longer. Edison's name went on the patent. Latimer, an African-American inventor, received little recognition during his lifetime. Another employee, William Dixon, invented most of the motion picture camera technology. Edison took the credit and became known as the father of cinema. Was this legal? Yes. Was it fair? That's debatable. But here's the most controversial secret. The light bulb wasn't Edison's invention. 23 inventors before Edison created electric lights. A British inventor named Joseph Swan demonstrated a working light bulb in 1878, 1 year before Edison. Swan even sued Edison later for patent infringement and won in British courts. So what did Edison actually do? He didn't invent the light bulb, he perfected it. He made it practical, affordable, and commercially successful. He created the entire electric power system to make light bulbs useful. Generators, cables, switches, sockets. Edison was a genius not in pure invention, but in innovation, taking ideas and making them profitable. His famous quote isn't, "I invented the light bulb," it's, "Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration." He succeeded through relentless work, testing thousands of materials until he found what worked. Now we reach the darkest chapter, Edison's battle against Nikola Tesla and George Westinghouse. This conflict was called the War of Currents, and it reveals Edison's ruthless side. Here's the background. Edison's electrical system used direct current, or DC. It was safe but limited. DC electricity couldn't travel far from power stations. Every few miles, you needed a new station. Then came Nikola Tesla, a brilliant Serbian inventor who worked for Edison briefly. Tesla proposed alternating current, or AC, electricity that could travel hundreds of miles efficiently. Edison hated this idea. Why? Because he had already invested millions in DC infrastructure. AC threatened his business empire. When Tesla asked Edison for promised bonuses for his improvements, Edison allegedly replied, "Tesla, you don't understand our American humor." He refused to pay. Tesla quit and eventually partnered with George Westinghouse to promote AC electricity. What Edison did next shocked America. He launched a public fear campaign against AC electricity. Edison claimed AC was deadly and dangerous. He hired people to hold public demonstrations where they electrocuted animals using AC current, dogs, horses, and even an elephant named Topsy. These demonstrations were horrific. Edison filmed them and showed them to audiences to terrify people about AC electricity. It gets worse. Edison helped develop the electric chair for executions, specifically using AC current to associate Westinghouse's technology with death. The first execution by electric chair in 1890 was botched and gruesome, and Edison used it as propaganda. But the public wasn't fooled for long. AC was simply better technology. By the 1890s, Westinghouse and Tesla were winning the war of currents. The Niagara Falls Power Station opened in 1896 using AC, powering Buffalo, New York from miles away, something impossible with DC. Edison eventually lost this battle. AC became the standard worldwide. Tesla died poor and forgotten in 1943, while Edison remained wealthy and celebrated. But history now recognizes Tesla's genius. This story reveals an uncomfortable truth. Success doesn't always go to the best inventor. It often goes to the best businessman, even if his methods are questionable. Everyone knows Edison's famous quote about the light bulb. "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." It's inspirational, it's motivational, and it's probably not true. Here's what historians discovered. There's no reliable record of Edison saying this. It appears in books decades after his death, but no contemporary source quotes him saying it. Edison did fail many times, that part is true. He tested thousands of materials for light bulb filaments, platinum, carbonized cotton, bamboo, even hair. But the romantic story of 10,000 failures is likely an exaggeration. However, Edison did say something more honest and brutal about failure. "Hell, there are no rules here. We're trying to accomplish something." That quote reveals the real Edison. He didn't follow rules. He didn't care about ethics or fairness. He cared about results. Edison also said, "Anything that won't sell, I don't want to invent. Its sale is proof of utility, and utility is success." This wasn't a scientist seeking truth. This was a businessman seeking profit. And it worked. By his death in 1931, Edison held 1,093 U.S. patents, the record for any individual. He founded General Electric, one of the world's most powerful corporations. He became America's greatest celebrity inventor, friends with Henry Ford and Harvey Firestone. But his personal life, complicated. His first wife, Mary, died young, possibly from stress and loneliness because Edison worked obsessively, often sleeping only 4 hours per night in his lab. His children barely knew him. He was a difficult, demanding father. Edison's later years brought him respect and wealth, but also regret. In private letters, he admitted he wished he had spent more time with his family. So what's the truth about Thomas Edison? He wasn't the lone genius of mythology. He was a complex, flawed human being, brilliant and ruthless, innovative and exploitative, persistent and unethical. Here's what we can learn from Edison's real story. First, failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the process. Edison did fail countless times. He learned from every failure. The key isn't avoiding failure, it's refusing to quit. Second, success requires more than good ideas. Edison succeeded because he understood business, marketing, and systems. Pure invention isn't enough. You need strategy. Third, collaboration matters more than individual genius. Edison's greatest strength was organizing teams of talented people. Innovation is usually collective, not individual. Fourth, question the hero stories. History is complicated. Edison was celebrated, but he also harmed people. Tesla was forgotten, but his contributions were enormous. Learn from both their successes and their mistakes. And finally, persistence can be powerful, but it must be paired with integrity. Edison's ruthlessness brought him wealth, but damaged his reputation. Real success includes how you treat others along the way. Edison once said, "There's a way to do it better. Find it." That advice still works today. But remember, better shouldn't just mean more profitable. It should also mean more ethical, more fair, more human. So my question for you, what failure are you facing right now? What are you learning from it? And more importantly, are you building your success in a way that helps others or harms them? If you learned something new about Edison's controversial story, hit that like button and subscribe to English Through Truth. We reveal the real stories behind history's famous figures, the truth, not just the myths. Comment below. Were you surprised by Edison's dark side? Do you think his success justifies his methods? Thanks for watching. Keep learning, keep questioning, and remember, the truth is always more interesting than the legend.